The two most common questions that we get in regards to putting are, first of all, should I putt on a straight back, straight through path, or should I have a slightly arcing type stroke? And second of all, what kind of length of stroke should I be using? Let's go answer those two questions right now. Let's talk first about the straight back, straight through type stroke. The first key to keep in mind when building any stroke is understanding how you want the shoulders to work. In this case, on a straight back, straight through type stroke, I want to build my shoulder action so it works in a parallel fashion to my target line. As soon as my shoulders begin to rotate around my spine, the putter head will automatically want to travel on more of an arc. So in the straight back, straight through type stroke, we need to put our shoulders in a position that gives me the best chance to keep them parallel to my target line at all times. To do that, I'm gonna need a lot of bend forward to start with. The second thing I'll need to do is probably shorten the length of my putter, because gripping the shaft of the putter doesn't give us a lot of help. The third thing there is eye position. When I bend very far forward, my eyes are gonna have to be directly over the golf ball. Now that I'm in this position, it's gonna give me a much better chance to keep my shoulders parallel to my target line and putt on a more straight back, straight through type stroke. When building an arcing type stroke, there's a few key setup ingredients to keep in mind. The first of which in here is eye position. Eye position here, unlike straight back, straight through, doesn't need to be directly over the golf ball. In fact, on the inside edge of the golf ball, or even an inch or so inside the golf ball, was perfectly fine when building an arcing type stroke. With that eye position, our shoulders don't need to bend quite as far forward, and therefore we can get a more traditional length putter to fit this setup. The other key to keep in mind when it comes to the shoulders is how they work during an arcing type stroke. In this case, they naturally rotate around the spine, and that natural rotation around the spine is what actually produces the arcing motion. So eyes are slightly inside the golf ball, shoulders aren't bent quite as far forward, and they're going to simply rotate around the spine and produce a naturally arcing motion. The second most common question that we get is, what length of stroke should I be trying to use? The key in answering that question lies in three words: constant impact velocity. What that means is the putter head will be traveling at a constant pace as it's striking the golf ball. I don't want the putter head accelerating or decelerating as it's striking the putt. If it's accelerating or decelerating, it's going to be very difficult to develop a constant distance that the ball travels. So keys, in my opinion, to produce that constant impact velocity that we're talking about is to develop a stroke that's much like a pendulum on a clock. It's even on both sides. So the length of your backswing and length of your follow through is about the same distance every time. Easy then to control the overall distance I want to hit it by just taking a little longer backstroke and a little longer follow through. That's the key in producing good results with your length of stroke.